I will say, just the atmosphere at the game was incredible. Been to a lot of stadiums, heard a lot of crowds. Sometimes when you're in the box up there, you're kind of insulated behind the glass. And so when you really hear it kind of through the glass in that atmosphere, it was pretty impressive. And just thanks to the fans, because that was awesome. I think, what did they have, 4 penalties in a row during the game? And they just kept getting louder, so that was really cool.
Wes, Aaron Jones has played a pretty big role in the passing game. I guess, can you just speak to what makes him unique there? I mean, I don't know how many running backs can line up at wide receiver if you need him, or screen pass. It seems like he can do pretty much anything there.
Yeah, Aaron's just a really good football player. One of those guys, just kind of the game makes sense to him. He sees it. He's very, very smart. And just a fluid athlete. Aside from him catching, he has over 100 yards rushing. I think it was 46 receiving. And those 100 yards were, he just has a way of slipping through, falling forward, getting positive yards on plays that aren't always, the look isn't always that he's going to get 5 yards. I mean, I think that last 4-yard run he had was as impressive as any run I've seen this season. And it's just a 4-yard run that got him over the 100 mark. But that was a really impressive 4-yard run. It sure didn't look like it was going to be 4. We were hoping he got himself 100 yards, and he needed 2, and he got us 4, so went 2 over.
Do you remember what it was like what you thought when you heard it was possible you guys might be able to bring him
in? Yeah, I mean, I was excited. It was a lot like the feeling when the Hawkinson talks were going. I mean, it was not only excitement about the player and what you know about the player already, but to get him from a division rival, different circumstances, obviously, but just to be able to get one of the players that, you don't have to compete against anymore, and he's on your side is a pretty good feeling.
A lot of people have talked about his personality, his leadership qualities. Where have you seen that show up, or how have you seen that show up in the locker room since he's been here?
Just really every moment with Aaron. Aaron's just a phenomenal human being. Just being from the same school. I knew a lot of people who knew him and coached him going through college, and had only heard great things. And then once he was in the NFL, I mean, all the coaches in Green Bay that I knew, when you're talking about some of your favorite players of all time, and it was really just no question, it's Aaron Jones. He works extremely hard. He's accountable. I mean, he had a great game in the game, and I give him a hug in the locker room, and I'm sorry about that penalty, coach. I shouldn't have done that. It won't happen again. I mean, that's what he's thinking about at that moment, and always better to correct with a win, but that's just the kind of guy he is. He's always working to get better, and always looking to help the young guys, help the team in a leadership role. Pick guys up if they just seem a little down. He's that kind of guy.
You talk about that UTEP connection a lot. Like, did you know about him before? He really popped his senior year, but when did you first hear about him?
Well, yeah, I mean, I try to watch the games when they're on, or when I'm available to watch, my university. So, really I was watching him and his brother Alvin, were the two best players on the team. Him playing running back and his brother playing linebacker. So it was cool. It was like these couple of El Paso kids, which is probably the only way they would have got him. Being from kind of a smaller market type town, but but yeah, they were playing great, and a couple of the coaches. Well, I mean, a couple were my teammates that were coaching on that staff. So I was keeping up with those guys and hearing a lot about this guy's a really good player. And I've kind of always kept track on some of the UTEP guys around the league. Just see how they're doing. There's more than you think. So, yeah, it's just great to be with him now.
Wes, what has Jalen Nailor done to develop and evolve into a larger role here with Jordan out?
He's, I keep kind of coming back to he's doing what we've all seen him do. He's just has the opportunities now, and just injury bug kind of got him a little bit early, and wasn't able to kind of show what we thought he could do, because we've been excited about him really since we got him, about a guy that he can run, he can separate, transition, hands. I mean, that catch in the end zone, not only a great ball by Sam, but those are the red zone touchdowns, contested balls. Him and Johnny Munt, catching those two balls were difficult catches, and for them to stick with it, make those catches. And then it was also nice, just an aside, to get a nice off-schedule touchdown in the red zone. So, seeing what Sam kind of brings to the table, and JJ doing a great job not getting pushed out of bounds and becoming available for him. But yeah, Jalen, he's been consistent as far as when he's been available. He's been consistently able to win, able to separate, and we got a lot of trust in him.
What stood out in game planning? What has stood out in game planning for Jeff Hackney's defense?
I'd say number one, just the front is really good. Kenny Clark, everyone knows about. Sladen is a huge man in the middle there, and then you've got Preston and Rashawn Gary, and even some of the rotational guys. They try to keep those guys fresh, and you've got Wyatt coming in inside. You got Van Ness, a couple first-round picks, and then Enik Barre. I hope I didn't butcher his name there, but I've liked him since he's been in the league, and he's shown a lot in the run game and pass rush as well. So I mean, they've got a lot of really capable players up front, physical. They play very hard. Some of the bigger guys, they play as hard as any of the big guys in the league that I've seen, as far as running out of the stack, running the football, and then they've got talent on all levels. Mike linebacker is a 6'4", whatever. He looks like he's about 6'8" when you walk on the field. 240 plus pounds. I mean, big man who can run and hit. And they're physical. They've got corners. The safeties, I've been impressed with their safeties, the range in the post, the ability to play near the box. So it's a big challenge. This is a good defense.
Just when it comes to what you've seen from Sam now through 3 weeks, I guess what stands out to you in terms of just his personality, now seeing him in the week-to-week basis, and also it seems like he's just had a calmness to him through these first couple of weeks, kind of no matter what's happening in the game. Just curious what you've observed there.
Yeah, Sam's just a good dude. He's fun to be around. Loves ball, loves his teammates. Likes hanging with the guys. Likes being a part of the team, part of football. The way he's been able to just work in the system, I think has been great for him. Obviously, he's getting a lot of attention, but his operation of the system, his just staying within the system and putting the ball in play, the things that are kind of emphasized to him within each play have really shown up. And really, I'm in the game, I'm as proud of him for about 4 throwaways in the game that were smart football plays. Let's go to the next down. Let's keep on track here, you know, and not make a bad play worse. So, you know, I think he's continuing to grow in this offense as a player. Still, there's still things that we can, you know, fine tune and work on. But everybody's really pleased with Sam. Players love being around him, and so do we.
The success he's had in the red zone, what does that take for a quarterback to thrive the way he has in condensed areas in the goal line?
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously ball placement, accuracy in those tight windows when the field's condensed is big. But like I mentioned, I mean, he has an off-schedule touchdown that really they had covered pretty well. And we got good protection, good pocket, and he's able to kind of get up and out of the pocket and find somebody. And he's also more than capable. Hasn't quite happened in the red zone yet, but if guys are still matched, he's more than capable of running it in himself. He's a good athlete. So, you know, those red zone scramble drills we do on Fridays, you know, they can come to life with Sam, and it's real. And you saw guys working towards him. I mean, JJ got wide open there, but guys were working towards him. And usually the best red zone teams in the league, they can run it in, and they can make plays off schedule. So he gives us the ability to do that.
How much does the off-schedule stuff come to life with his mobility, more so in a way that it would with a different type of quarterback?
Like how you phrase that. Yeah, he can do it. He can do it, and some other quarterbacks can't. But like I said, I mean, when the field is condensed, there are going to be times where, you know, they kind of have the right coverage on, or we have a hard time separating, or guys are getting grabbed and not getting called, whatever it may be, where you have to buy some time. Or some teams are going to drop 8 on you down there sometimes, and you've got this kind of 3-man rush, and you got to kind of feel that you have time, and then eventually maybe I have to get out of there and just make a playoff schedule. And you know, the teams, the Bills and the Chiefs and the guys who can consistently kind of make those types of plays when it's not clean are usually number one in the red zone at the end of the year.
Do you feel like the synergy in the way you guys are putting together these offensive plans is different this year than in years past, or better, or the same?
Well, I'd like to think, you know, we've grown as coaches as well, that we're getting better every year. I mean, you hope that we're still growing and still learning and still finding different and better ways to attack defenses, whether pass game or run game. You know, I do think Kevin is an excellent play caller, and when some of these plays have gotten called, and you're repping it against a certain look, and to get the call at the right time for the right look, and it plays out exactly like we told him it would at times, that feels really good for us, you know, and then other times we don't get the look and the guys make a play. So, you know, there's kind of this back and forth, which I think is what good teams can do. But there's a lot of trust, I think, on both sides, from the players, from the scheme that we're putting in, and then for them to make it right when it's not always the perfect call.
How do you balance the tight window throws versus the throwaways? Because that's two different philosophies, right? And
yeah, you know, I mean, there were a couple throws down in the red zone there where, you know, there really wasn't anything, you know, and I think there's a difference between, okay, the guy's got an edge, or there's a place to throw it, and I'm going to force it. I'm going to force it in there. You know, Speedy got an edge on the safety flying across the field, did a heck of a job. getting across that safety's face. And Johnny Munt's play, by the time he caught it, there were 3 guys around him, but kind of knowing it was a zone coverage and kind of the way we're spacing the field and wrapping a guy behind, if they would have been a little bit tighter, any one of those guys maybe throws it to Brandon Powell, who's kind of standing over here in a zone, and then Speedy's wrapping in behind him. But he was decisive, made the decision and put it in a place where only Johnny had a chance to catch it. So the accuracy is a big part of that, but the confidence to just step back and let that thing rip right there. It just shows you, how Sam's playing right now.
What do you think of Sam trying to flip the one to Aaron as he was under duress in the red zone there?
Yeah, those always scare us a little bit. There is a time, and that's part of the growth, the maturation as a player. We look back on those, and Sam looks back on that stuff critically, and just understanding, the one in the red zone, it's 1st and 9, I believe. It was 1st and goal at the 9, I think. And to try to make something happen, just an understanding that, we have good players. We can go to 2nd down, and we're in scoring range. Let's not do anything to jeopardize the points in that area. At worst, we got to come out with 3. So, he'll learn from that. He already has. He's looked at it and he knows better. But that's part of the game a little bit too. Guys are competitive, trying to make plays, and sometimes those plays, as coaches, sometimes you say no, and then they score a touchdown. You say, all right, good job on that one. Just don't do it again.
Wes, there's been a lot of discussion about teams playing shells or too high safeties and things like that, which is something that you guys with Justin have faced a lot over the last couple of years. I guess, how have you approached that problem of the adjustment of the league playing a lot more of that two deep safeties?
This is the Mel Kiper thing.
I may have seen it.
Yeah.
I may have seen what he said,
Yeah, I mean, it's football. Those guys can do what they want over there, and I think that's part of the fun every week. Of if they're more of a split safety team, there's holes in that defense too, and we got to find ways to try to get our guys in those open windows. So I think that's the chess match, the back and forth. There were, Tampa 2 was being run by some teams almost exclusively for a bunch of years. So, there were some teams you played, and it was just Tampa 2 every snap. And still difficult to run the football. And it's not like, Brian Urlacher was still good against the run, but he could run with a receiver down the pipe. So, strengths and weaknesses to any defense. And but if you are going to play 2 safeties high, then you're generally only going to be rushing 4. You're going to have a lighter box. You got to find ways to stop the run with a 7-man box instead of 8. And that's part of the fun for us each week, is to try to find ways to attack it, try to anticipate the times where they will be in single high or can plays, single high and shell, running the ball or throwing the ball. So every week, those guys are allowed to move a lot more. We should be able to move a little bit more, I think, but they won't let us do that yet. If they want scoring to go up, though.
No rules.
Are you
Yeah.
saying there should be more rules against the defense?
Well, there's a lot of, the late stems, they jump to the side, and, if we barely pick up our hand at all, it's a flag. I just think, a little, even it out a little bit.
How about face masking on each side?
The face mask?
Yeah, when a running back grabs the face mask.
Open hand is all right. Open hand on the face mask, you can't grab it. So,
Before you get fined.
All